It's me, Renee. I'm back. So today I'm doing the sorry. It's a new tag by analyst Eli, Eli, Eli. Yeah, Eli. Suddenly, like questioning himself, how do you pronounce stuff? But yeah, so the tag is called the Autism and Books tag. Book tag. So Annalisa has autism. She's on the spectrum, and she decided to do a little video on that and connecting it with books. She also did, sorry, and I felt like during this tag is a great way to inform people about autism, how it manifests or doesn't manifest, and what's it all about. Because some people might not know about it, and maybe you've just seen Sheldon on Big Bang Theory, and that's not always how it is. And yeah. And this tag, it's completely new. It was made last week. Yeah, last week. So I suppose last week, and when this goes up, I'm gonna post next week. So last week from when you see this. But yeah, this tag can be done by anyone who wants to do it. I suppose kind of obviously. Why would you say like don't do this tag? You won't really. But yeah, don't feel like you have to do it just if you have autism yourself. You can do it just still like if you still feel like you kind of want to do this tag. Personally, I don't actually have autism. I do have non-verbal learning disorder, which is similar in a way. It's on the spectrum. When you talk about mental issues like this, you can talk about the spectrum, where you have, I think it's been much more known ultimately lately, but where you have like sometimes you talk about high functioning autism or low functioning autism. High functioning autism would like maybe yeah would be Sheldon Cooper. He has lots of degrees. He has a job. He can goes to school, goes to job like regularly. Like he has his stuff together. Not people that doesn't have a 100% job doesn't. But yeah. Though saying high functioning and low functioning, it's kind of also be like disagreed on. Is it good to say high functioning? Like if you cannot have a full time job, or if you can't drive, or if you can't sleep well, or something like that, doesn't mean that you're not still functioning. So yeah, all those stuff like that. It's kind of difficult to talk about. Like it's not really clear cut answer. Really, there's lots of ways of doing it. As the same way type that some people say like, "Hey, I'm Renee. I have NDL," and some people say like, "Hi, I'm Renee." Talk for like months and then say, "I have this and this." So it really depends, like the person, how much they're open with it, and when they're open with it, and stuff like that. And yeah, so during this tag, I said I'm going to like talk a bit more about how MDL, um, how it affects my life and me, and how it is for me. So because I can't say how autism is for me because I don't have autism, but I have NDLL, which is similar. And yeah, let's start with the first question. Give me a moment there. Uh, what is a book uh, with the characters that have a difficult or frustrating time working together? Because often people with autism or NDLL, often we don't often understand subtlety or like hidden messages, or for example body language, or yeah, non-verbal communication. NDLL, in case you didn't know, probably don't. It's not that well known really, but it stands. I should have said it before, but yeah, I'll say it again. It stands for non-verbal learning disorder. So it focuses very much on like the non-verbal aspect of the world. So if a look is someone's giving someone a look, or if someone's giving someone a nudge, like doing something with body language, or maybe they're using words but they're being sarcastic, that can be difficult for me to understand. And yeah, so if you have autism, it can be difficult to work together with other people in class or something because you might not pick up on all clues, or you might not understand that, oh, you're being sarcastic here, and you need to like be explained a question a lot of times. And yeah, it's not really simple really. It's not simple. Sometimes I feel like my Norwegian just kind of comes out like I put in these little Norwegian things. Like in Norwegian, you could say like it's not just. Of course, you can't say that in English, but I try to translate it and say simple. I suppose you understand. Like it's not easy. It's not piece of cake. It's a bit difficult sometimes. But yeah, yeah. Also, yeah. So answering this question, I'm gonna say Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. So this one has a lot of characters. Many of the characters don't get along all the time. Some of them never get along. There's some characters that are just there in one scene. They're trying to rape someone. Of course, there's a conflict. That's something that's not good. We're working together. I mean, that's something that's clashing really. You have some characters that first don't agree and don't like each other and then become friends, but they misunderstand each other and they don't see eye to eye in the beginning. And yeah, so yeah, all in all, this is a very good book. Just again, so also like agree. I love like when tags do something like music and tags and this and tags because music and books and this and books, because then you can kind of connect different stuff. And while learning about the booktubers' love of these songs, or thoughts of these songs, or thoughts on illness, you get some book recommendations. So yeah, that's good. Next question is, what is a book that kept kicking a person while they are down? So yeah, just so you know, I end up writing down just the questions, though Annalisa, she had like a preface to the question. So the preface for this one is that often when you have autism, you often have a lot other issues as well. You might have autism and ADHD. You might have autism and words dyslexia. You might have autism and you might have anxiety. You often have like several issues at the same time. So yeah, that's lovely, and that's so nice, so lovely to have all the issues. So yeah, so that's kind of like why this question really works. A book that is a book that keeps kicking a person while they're down, or person character. You get what I mean. Here I'm gonna go with sorry with Stephen, or like the person is Stephen from Invisibility by Andrew Kramer and Dale Leviathan. Sorry. So in this book, I won't get into details because spoilers. But Stephen, he okay. So this is kind of like the concept of the book. So yeah, Stephen has sorry. There's several stuff, but like one thing that's not spoiler is obviously Stephen. He's invisible. Has been his whole life. No one can see him. Not even his own parents. His mom died after a few years. So yeah, in addition to being invisible, his mom's dead, and his dad left him and started a new family. So yeah, that's certainly kicking him while he's down. And of course, because he's invisible, he can't really have any friends. Well, he has acquaintances online, but he doesn't really feel like he has friends, at least at the start of the book. But yeah, but also like during this book, also he gets kicked because of events that happen. So yeah, this book works for that definitely. Next question is, what is a book with a society or group of people that has an excessive amount of rules? So often people with autism or people with NDL, we don't really understand rules. We might not understand social cues and rules. We might not understand why all the rules are important, or why people do this and this, and we don't really understand all these subtle rules, and like why would you have all these rules, and like yeah, we kind of need to be explained stuff to us often, like yeah, often we don't understand stuff, and we often also we don't really care that much, like we might not care that, okay, like personally for myself, I like I like clothes, that seems weird, um like when I dress myself, when I put on clothes, I don't really think does this color work with this color. I think more like this is a nice color, this is a nice color. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like in my mind, as long as the two colors are nice, separately, I'll use them together. I don't really mind that much about matching that much, really. Or for example, like this whole idea, like often, at least in the western part of the world, yeah, it's a bit misunderstanding. Okay, in a big part of the world, a big part of society, and a big part of life is drinking alcohol. It's about getting drunk, going to pubs in the weekends and getting drunk, going from pub to pub. And honestly, that's never really been my idea of a fun time, really. I drink sometimes, like alcohol, but I actually never been drunk. I suppose think like kind of be nice, like some one time to check it out how I react to like being drunk, because people have different hangovers and stuff. But like don't have a big I don't really have a big interest really in being drunk or drinking more really. And like going out to pubs, going out to clubs, that's not really my style really. I suppose pubs might be my thing. Like I might go to pub because pubs sometimes have a nice atmosphere. They don't often have huge loud music and stuff. While in clubs they often have lots of music and it's high and you can't hear yourself think. And that's not for me, not at all. So yeah, I'm an adult, but I don't really drink that much, and that sets me apart from the rest of the world, from a lot of the world. When people talk about like the hangover they had that week, or how they're gonna drink so much in that week, and I'm like, I don't care. Or like how saying like, oh, it's so fun to drink. Like you do know you can't have fun without drinking, you know. So yeah, for me that's kind of a thing like that kind of avoid or kind of like don't participate in the whole alcohol issue of the world. As I said, I don't actually think in this video, but I said in a few videos back, I do like drinks, but I don't really like drink excessively. So like I might take a gin tonic, or I might take a blanking like other drinks. But I don't like beer, and I actually don't like wine. So I'm weird. Like drinks often, like cocktails, are often expensiver than beer and wine. But yeah, that's how it is for me, really. But yeah, I like cocktails, and that's it really. And I don't really do them often. And yeah, let's move on to the question. Yeah, was a book with a society of group people with excessive amount of rules. This one, I suppose, I suppose could like do lots of research. Like often I don't really do that much research for tags. I suppose it's funner when you do stuff more rapid fire and stuff. But end up going with, I don't know if this is cheating. I don't think it is. But end up Diary of Confused Feminist, which takes place in our world, or to be more precise, takes place in high school. You might think like high school? Does that have? Yeah. For people who like me who don't understand social cues, high school is very difficult. There's lots of rules that what you should and shouldn't do that you don't really. They're not written; they're unwritten, and you should just like know them like that. And often they're not easy to explain. And yeah, high school, yeah, definitely a place with lots of rules. Also, like there are also rules like they're established like from the teacher's point of view. So yeah, though I suppose like in a way it's less strict, or less, at least for some part of the world. Like in a way, you don't really have to have a hall pass to go to P. You don't have a you don't have yeah, there's a lot of ways that's different in a way than other places, at least in US. So there's, and then there's not really also dress codes. Like if you go to school with tank top, no problem. If you go to school with a short shirt, no problem. So it's not really that much of like I suppose that kind of rules in Norway, Norwegian schools, but there are some rules. And yeah, so let's move on. Next one is yeah, someone just gonna doing it different ways. Never really have a system. I suppose that's kind of also part of like how it raised me. I'm not really that organized or systematic, like not at least in my day-to-day life, not in my personal life. But yeah, so this question concerns uh, concerns cures or like treatments. That there's some treatments to autism that often really do more harm really than good. So sometimes there's some treatments that don't really work at all, and they're just too much harm. They have a good intent, but they end up being way off base and way wrong. So yeah, who's the character that was creepy controlling over another for their own good? So I suppose an example here would be Mother Gothel Entangled. That's for movies, and for books, I'm gonna go with Vampire Academy. I suppose it's a bit of an older book now, but the person I'm thinking about is actually a kind of spoiler. But okay, just gonna say it like this: one of the persons in this book, you understand by the end that oh my god, that's big manipulation, and it mm, kind of rolls over into the whole series, and yeah, it's very bad. It's very controlling, and it's not really good at all. And if you know, you know. If you don't, check out the series. Very good. Sorry. Yeah. Often people with autism or NDLL or also NDLL have like huge interest in something. That's something that's often used like in TV, like in Sheldon. He loves Lord of the Rings. He loves Harry Potter. He loves Star Wars. Like he has these obsessions. Not people with not autism can have obsessions, but we might take obsessions to a whole nother level. So yeah. For me, similar to Annalisa, I love storytelling, mostly as I see in books, but also in movies and in TV series. I love a great story, really. Yeah, that's also like sometimes people ask me like, "What do you look for in a book?" And I might say like, "Just a great story, really." Because yeah, often I think maybe the books that I love the most. I suppose this might be a bit duh, but like often books I love the most are books that are most creative or original. They take a concept and do it in a whole new different way, or they use something that's not been used often in books, and like they do something completely new, and I love that. And yeah, so the question here is, who is a character sufficiently obsessed with something that would be their special interest if they were autistic? So with this one, I actually don't really know what. I thought I had a book, but then I remember I actually don't. You know what? You know what I'm gonna do? And then again, people. Percival or Percy from Percy Tunstall from the Words Custard Protocol series. He's very into his research and his the stuff that he loves to research. He loves academia, and yeah, I would say that's very much his obsession. And also, just FYI, kind of want to know, this book, Percy, the main character in this book, he doesn't have on screen. It's not written autism, but he has autism aspects. People often read him as that. So if you like to read something that's fantastical and with autism aspects in a person, check this out because yeah, it really scratches that. It really scratches that itch. Well, and then let's move on to next. Often people with autism or NDLL often have a lot of empathy and sympathy. We might, uh, yeah, we might get very emotional watching movies, even though like the movies they're not real, but we might get very emotional. Or yeah, we might just get very emotional. People around us don't have good time or don't have it nice. We might want to help them. Personally, like for me, an example here would be when I was in primary school. I think it was like 11 and 10. We went to it was like a skiing day. I live in Norway. We do skiing sometimes, and yeah, it was a skiing day. And then the whole school, or like the whole grade, went to the place to go skiing. You had different slopes you can use and all that. And then during that day, one, and this wasn't even a friend, like I wouldn't really call her a friend. I was say more like a acquaintance. I talk to her sometimes, but that would be it. But yeah, one of the persons in that grade, she took a wrong turn while skiing and she fell. And I think she ended up either breaking or concussing. Well, concussing. I think she either broke or what's the other word? Like something happened with her feet. Like she had to use uh, crutches. She had to use words again. She had to use like those crutches. It's not the word, isn't it? But you know those like things you hold when you have to have help walking. Not a wheelchair, but like this big walking sticks thingy. Yeah, you understand probably. Yeah, I'm gonna say you do. But yeah, she had to use that for a few weeks afterwards. Words. So what I did, I felt so bad for her because she was hurting so much. So the next day I went to the bookstore. Sorry, I went to the store and I bought an expensive chocolate for her. And then the day after that, I got it from her, gave to her at school, saying like, "Get well, get well." I mean, it seems to be awful having so much pain. I hope you get well. And yeah, she of course she was very happy with this. And yeah, I didn't really know her that much, but it just hurt me so much to see her hurting. And yeah, feelings of that like injustice and sadness and yeah, injustice just gets me very much. Also, another example of this. While I studied a few years ago in Oslo to become a librarian, and as you would have every place really, every city, most cities anyway, you have people who stand around in street corners asking, "Do you want to give money for Save the Kids? Do you want to give money for Red Cross? Do you want to give money for Amnesty?" And uh, charitable and nice as I ended up saying yes to all of them. So I gave at one point I gave money to Save the Kids, I gave money to Red Cross, I gave money to Amnesty. I think maybe I also gave to Doctors Without Borders. The issue is that issue was that at this time I didn't have a job, so I only lived on like money from my words from my student loan. I had still student loan, and I also had a student like no fee, a student there was student loan and a student gift, I suppose you could say, like not a loan, not something you have to give back, just something you get. You understand my thing, probably. And yeah, and even though that's good, I mean, good thing we have in Norway, really. It's not much, and you have to live when you're studying. You have to pay your bills. You have to buy money, etc. Buy money. You have to buy food, etc., etc. So yeah, I end up being like very broke very soon because I gave away so much money to charity. So yeah, I end up not doing that for a long time. But yeah, that's I suppose kind of shows how emphatic I am. Emphatic, empathy filled. You understand. But yeah, who is a character who cares more about others' feelings than their own? Here I would go with Hazel Wong from the Wells and Wong series, or A Murder Most Unladylike series. This series actually ends this year. Quite sad. The last book is on the way to me in my mail, and it's sad. But yeah, so this is a historical mystery book. Sorry, mystery series. It's set around these friends. Well, mainly two friends, but there's more that come in now and then. Hazel and Daisy. Hazel and Daisy. Hazel is from Hong Kong, Daisy is from London, and they go together in a boarding school in England. It's set in 1930s. So you have that historical aspect in that way. You also have LGBTQ aspects, and though there's not much romance, but there's there. Um, and yeah, if you love Agatha Christie, oh check this one out because lots of this series have locked room mysteries, or there's a mystery where they don't really know who the like what's going on. There's lots of questions, or there's one time when they see a body and then, well, actually the first story is they see a body and then they go wait like tell people like there's a body, and they come back and the body is gone. It's like missing body. So yeah, this book series is just very good, and Hazel is very very unselfish. Shellfish. Yeah, you get what I say. And then so often when people have autism or NDLL, some things might overstimulate us, but might be too much. Like if there's too much color in something, or we might not like some types of clothes because they make us itch, or we might not like if there's too loud. For me, it isn't actually an issue with like sound. So like if a room is very loud, for example, if I suppose that's kind of why I don't really like to go to clubs because there's such loud places, loud noises there. Also, like if there's a party with many people and it's just loud and it's lots of noise, I don't like that at all. I suppose that's kind of slightly why I like parties with few people. So like if the party has 50 people, it's too many, for me at least. If the party has 20, 10, that's perfect. Perfect. It doesn't get noisy, it just gets chill and relaxed. And yeah, so yeah, and actually, I suppose this also probably kind of why I actually never really liked News Eve that much. This drinking, I don't really do drink, except on New Year's Eve, but still not even then that much. Also, on New Year's Eve, you have fireworks, and I always felt like the fireworks are so noisy, and I don't really like them. And yeah, you also have like these flutes, like for National Day in Hanoi, you go in parades, and the kids have like flutes they use, like, and there's this big screeching sound, and it's just so annoying and so bothering, and I don't really care for that. So yeah, that's really it for me. So yeah, a character that with supernatural or enhanced senses that sometimes overwhelm them. With this one, so that's Michelle, also Rose from Vampire Academy. So she sometimes gets affected by Lisa and their whole bonding situation. Rose sometimes she gets headaches herself because of the issue. She faints, and yeah, sometimes it all gets too much. But yeah, once again, great series. Check it out. So good. Then we have a question of yeah, as I said earlier, food is often like an issue. Like some people with autism might not like food with different textures, or with they might not like food to touch and different stuff like that. For me, that's not really an issue. I suppose maybe the most food like issue for me is that I'm a vegetarian. Have been for almost 20 years now. I I suppose that's really more with the empathy. Really, I don't really want to read. I don't really want to eat something that's been alive, has eyes and brain and some sort of feeling and emotion. And yeah, I can't take the idea of eating something that's been alive. It's not for me. But yeah, what food in a book that you want to eat? Also, is there food in a book that you don't want to eat? So this one quite difficult for me, I suppose, in a way, because in a way there's lots of books I would say that has good tasting food in it. So that sounds so good. I suppose the more difficult thing was finding a book that food that I didn't want to read, didn't want to eat. Actually didn't really find it, so I'm skipping the last one. But the first one, I'm gonna go with the food for the Keeper of the Lost Cities. Here they have like food. I'm not quite sure, but I think it's like kind of like magical thing where like if you need if you need like a cup of your grandma's best hot chocolate, that's what you're getting when you're drinking it. Need if you're in a mood for something calming from when you're studying, that's what you get when you're drinking that from that cup. So that's a very nice concept. And they also really they have well I suppose also they also like have sweets and stuff. But yeah, actually I remembered actually because in this series they book I just read the first but it's a series. But in this book, so it's a school book. It's set around a boarding school or a school, and they have to open their lockets, their not lockets, to open their again words. I'm just blanking out. You know the thing they have in hallways where they have the books, closets. I'm just going to call it closets. You probably understand what I mean. Yeah. To open their closets, the bookcases, book closets. Yeah, you get what I mean. They have to lick the lock. And so the teachers from the school have like a different day where they choose like which taste it is, and often it's like sweaty animal, or it's like the taste is like rotten fruits. So of course, yeah, that's something I would not want to do. Though it's not food, but sometimes it's like weird food. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with that one really. Then blah 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 blah. Okay, yeah. So often with autism and DLL, I suppose I think actually with a lot of these mental issues, you often really don't get diagnosed before like you're very old, before you're in your 20s, before you're in your maybe in your 30s, maybe when you're late teens. Though for me, I wasn't that old. I was diagnosed when I was 15, so I suppose it's kind of good. I had some more help when I was in well, yeah, I had some and had knowledge about it from that area from that time. Um, but yeah, since a lot of people don't get diagnosed before a long time, the question here is a character that had no idea what was going on until the end. So this one could I suppose also be a lot of books. Well, I suppose some have like characters that in it are just stupid, and some have like villains that are just so good. I would say this one works because there's twist at the end. So I suppose most books has twists at the end that you don't like. Oh, that's like what happened with that one. So this one, the protagonist isn't stupid. It's just that twist is just so like what? At least for me, I didn't see it at all. The Dark Days Pact. So the Dark Days Deceit by Alison Goodman. The third one in this series, and the last one in trilogy. And yeah, the twist at the end there is just mind-boggling. You can't see it coming. At least I couldn't. And yeah, very much recommend this book. That's the last question from the prompts. And you know what? I'm just gonna talk a bit more about NDLL. Kind of want to share a bit more. So NDLL for me, what it entails is that I have an issue with body language, with understanding body language. I have an issue with understanding sarcasm. So I suppose it's a bit of caveat here. Like if I watch a TV series like Friends, where Channel Bing, it's kind of very obvious that's sarcasm. But if there's like subtle sarcasm, like for example, some British humor is like, "Was that funny? Are you rude?" I suppose that might be just not me, but yeah. Sometimes when the humor is very subtle, it might be difficult for me to understand it's humor. It's not rudeness or not something else. And also, yeah, so I don't understand body language. I don't understand sarcasm that much. And yeah, subtle cues like some people like say do like stuff this way, and then I say like, and then when they just talk about something, and then they say, Well, everyone knows that, don't they? Like, does everyone knows that? I had no idea about that thing. And it's not like they're not talking about something like some facts from the world. They're talking about something like people should know about bodies or life or something like that. Like, oh, I had no idea. So like sometimes it seems like there are people things that are unsaid and unwritten. Like yeah, the subtle rules like of society and life. I don't really get. And so there's been some miscommunication because of that, and that's kind of been an issue for me sometimes. And I suppose kind of because of that, I had a difficult time in primary and middle school. Middle school, I went so far that I thought of ending it all because it's just difficult. I lost friends. I was, yeah. I suppose slightly why I love Veronica Mars so much because I relate to Veronica Mars. Kind of feel like it's me against the world. No one around me had died, but still, I kind of felt very, very alienated. It was just fun to see Veronica Mars, who just didn't really care much. She just went on and just yeah, she just kicks ass, and yeah, I love her. Bit of tidbit, digression, there, but yeah, and yeah, well, and yeah, other than that, really, I also have like a problem with my balance. So like for when I was a kid, when we did hide and seek and stuff like that, I never sprang quickly. I never ran quickly. Other people ran better and better. I never did like that. Like when there's something like in gym class when you have to have balance, I like often fell over. I don't really have that good balance at all. Some people with NDLL can't bicycle. I can bicycle, but like for example, I hate it when when a bicycle when there's like lots of hills after each other and then you just go on for long speed. And I don't really like when it's too speedy, when it's something that goes too quick. I no, uh, that speed that's not for me. I can't say this. I can't say this. And I suppose other than that, yeah, I suppose also have I don't have dyslexia, but I can have issues with language. I'm much better orally. Again, kind of similar with Annalisa. I'm much better with my words when I talk than when I write down stuff. I tried to have a vlog earlier and I thought it worked, but like, yeah. Like I always gotten better grades on oral exams. Ha ha ha. Don't go there. But yeah, when you took exams, then when I write down, I always feel like it's much easier uh, to think and to elaborate to make myself understood when I talk than when I write. I feel like when I write, I suppose like for me when I write, I just always sit there like 10 minutes being like, should I use this word or this word? So like options, and then I forget the rules for like the grammar. The grammar always don't stick there with that much into my head. Like the grammar for both English and Norwegian, it's not really perfect for me. So I suppose in that way, it's much easier, at least for me, to do a vlog because you don't really have to write stuff down that much. It's talking, using your words, but say mentally, using your words and your uh, and your and your hands and visually. It's very visual, and yeah, yeah. Let's just stop it there. It's been a fun tag. I hope you liked it. I hope you check out Annalisa. She does great videos. Now I'm feeling bad I haven't seen all of the videos lately, but it's difficult to watch all of the videos, all the people on BookTube, because there's so many good videos. And sometimes you don't really feel like watching BookTube. At least not me. And yeah, I mean, if people watch some of my videos from my channel, but not all of them, I'll be happy. You don't really have to watch all of them. And yeah, yeah. This is me saying Renee.